So your wife got brought into this.
Yeah, Jackie Spier, the congresswoman from, and I use that term loosely, from California, mentioned my wife in the midst of a live hearing on the air, you know, in front of millions of people. I was out of town on business. We started getting buried in threats.
What does your wife have to do with that?
Nothing. My wife, by the way, ironically, became a citizen not 1 month before, and within a month she was already being accused of being a traitor. Jackie Spier really
on what grounds was your wife accused of being a traitor?
She was born in Ukraine. Which, of course, as you and I both know, if you're born in Ukraine, that doesn't make you a fan of Russia. Jackie Spier just doesn't know her facts or has really bad interns in her office. But I want an apology from Jackie Spier.
Because there's like a Cyrillic alphabet, therefore you're working for Putin?
Oh,
I thought most Ukrainians hate Putin.
They do, of course. I mean, there's a difficulty going on between the two countries right now. But if you drink vodka, you have Russian dressing in your refrigerator, you're game for these people.
So what happened when she mentioned your wife?
Well, we started getting terrible threats. In fact, I was out of town on business. I got a call on my phone from somebody who said they were Antifa. And they said, we know you're out of town. We're going to burn your house down with your wife and children in it. And, you know, things have changed for my family dramatically. Even though I left the Trump campaign on June 2nd. And even though I've never heard anyone, least of all Donald Trump, even say the word Russia during the entire time I was on that campaign. This is a fishing expedition. It's clearly designed to delay and stop the Donald Trump agenda.
So what role do you think Russia did play, just as a citizen, in the 2016 election?
Well, you know, I believe that WikiLeaks, I've always believed that WikiLeaks has some connection to Russia. It's not clear if they did this time. We didn't even get a chance to look at the server. The DNC wouldn't even give the server to the FBI or Homeland Security. I've always thought that they were probably getting their materials in the past from Russia. But as a matter of fact, it doesn't take collusion from the Trump campaign for Russian active measures to mess with our elections. Listen, we messed with elections. The funny thing is, I was sent in 1994 to Russia by the Clinton administration to get involved in their elections.
Seeking what outcome?
The re-election of Boris Yeltsin.
Yeah, how'd that work for Russia, by the way, the re-election of Boris Yeltsin?
Yeah, it wasn't all that great.
Yeah.
When I met Yeltsin, he was a lion, but by the end of it, he was a souse.
Yeah, a drunk for sure. So, but you think it's likely that the Russian government was involved in the hacking of the DNC?
I think it's likely that the Russian government and its active measures were trying to get involved in the American elections because they get involved in all elections of all major nations, just like we do. We may not hack. We may. I don't know. But I can tell you as a fact, as someone who was sent to Russia to get involved in their elections, all the major opposition parties in Russia were concerned about my work there and said I had to stop meddling in their elections. That irony is not lost on me.
You were sent by the U.S. government?
By the Clinton administration. To get involved. I worked for the Central Election Commission there, trying to steer their election law, and afterwards trying to help candidates.
Do you think that the Russian government preferred candidate Trump over candidate Hillary?
No, I know they didn't. I mean, first of all, I've been told many times over by people I know from Russia and in Russia that Hillary was their candidate. And the reason why is they didn't like her. She was a problem for them, but she's predictable, totally predictable. Donald Trump, they thought maybe he was a better guy, but he was totally unpredictable. And it's a Russian standard that you go with predictable every single time.
Of course, it's absolutely a wise standard.
And you know that they were going to defeat her on every front because they did it for 8 years of Obama.
So your contention, you don't sound like much of a Putin fan.
Well, you know, I got to tell you this. Donald Trump wants to have better relations with all nations. He wants to have better relations with Russia. I'm not a big fan of Putin. I've criticized him in the past. In the pages of the Washington Post after my friend was murdered in 2004 on the streets of Russia, on the streets of Moscow. But Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin have an opportunity to change the way that we interact together. And we're ruining it with this bogus Russia investigation.
So your friend was murdered, you believe, by the Russians. Putin had a hand in it. You're mad about it. How did you respond then when you saw a sitting member of Congress, Jackie Spier of California, refer to you as Putin's image consultant?
I know that's something. First, I don't think Putin had anything to do with my friend's murder. I think the society there was responsible for it, and it was Putin's responsibility to stand up for media freedom. That was my point in 2004. Right. But when she called me Putin's image consultant, it was very clear to me that she has terrible interns. She didn't do any searching. All she had to do was look what I said in the media, what I've said in the press. I don't make it my business to insult Vladimir Putin or anybody else around the world. But my position on Russia and on the Kremlin is very clear. All you had to do was research it. Instead, she went after me and my wife on live television, and we've been enduring death threats and other threats ever since. That's March 20th.
Really quick, I just want to flesh that just for 1 second. What was the basis for that charge that you're Putin's image? Do you know why she said that?
Sound bites. She was trying to get on television. It was very clear. It was a very important, very rare public hearing.
You've never done his hair and makeup ever?
No, I've not. I've done his manicure, of course, and of course somebody's got to wax his chest, right, when he rides the horse. Listen,
now you're getting dirty, Michael.
I know Jackie Spier does not deserve to be in Congress if she doesn't come back and apologize to my wife for what she did. She can say whatever she wants about me. Putin's image consultant, Maxine Waters, Manny Petty guy. But as far as I'm concerned, you bring in family members, you bring in my wife, who became a citizen less than a month before. She owes us an apology.
Especially as a Ukrainian. It's